Welcome to another edition of Barnsley Biker Video Diaries. As you can see, we're back in workshop, having a break from doing a bit of a refurb on SR500 motor. Not seriously wrong with it, but we're just giving it a winter pull down just to make sure everything at the bottom end is okay and having a quick look at it. But I thought I'd take a break. Decided I was going to, I thought about doing a why I ride video. Seems to be a common theme amongst motorcycle bloggers. So I started thinking about what I wanted to do, how I want to present it, and what I wanted to try and put across. And thinking about it, a lot of my riding experiences will be familiar to most of the people that watch my videos. I'm sure a lot of people will have had similar experiences. You might identify with everything that I've got to say. You might only identify with a few things. So I changed the title. So today, welcome to Why We Ride. And hopefully some of you will smile because you recognise yourselves in some of the things I say and some of the things I've done. But also any non-motorcyclists that might be out there watching this, and I hope there are some, it might inspire you to go and give it a try. I know it's not for everybody, but until you've tried it, you won't understand what it is like, if you like, to ride a motorcycle. So yeah. Okay, when I was thinking about doing this video on why we ride, why I ride, I had ideas in my head of what I wanted to talk about, and I was going to do an on-bike commentary like I've done on a lot of my videos. But then I spoke to various people and asked them why they ride, when I bumped into friends or just out on the road, and we had the conversation. And then I did a little bit of a Google search to see if there was anything on the internet as to why people ride. And there were common themes, there were common trends. There were some that surprised me a little bit, not shocked me, but surprised me, that maybe reasons that I'd forgotten about or were no longer relevant to what I do when it comes to riding motorcycles. So I put together a top 10 list from talking to people and from doing a bit of online research. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you what I've filtered down to be people's top 10 reasons for riding motorcycles. So yeah, share them with you. Let me know what you think. Please comment at the end of the video, and maybe some people have got ideas as to why they ride that I've not included here. I may be able to include those in a future video. So yeah, let's have a look at my top 10 list. Okay, top of the list was the word adventure, or somewhere in people's reasons for riding bikes was adventure. And I suppose the immediate image you get with adventure is adventure bikes, people doing long distance trips, Ewan McGregor, Charlie Bowman doing their long way round or whatever. But then when you think about it, riding motorcycles it's a leisure activity, and as such every journey, every ride could be an adventure. And when I sat back and thought about this, I've been riding for quite a number of years now, but I've been driving cars for as long, if not longer. I passed my driving test before I passed my bike test. Got a bike before I got a car, but it was all around about the same time. So I've been driving 40 odd years, I've been riding 40 odd years. And when we sit down and start telling stories and sharing memories, my motorcycle memories far outweigh memories I have from driving cars. I've had adventures on motorcycles, yeah, I've done trips, long trips, short trips. I have had some close shaves, and I've had some fun times with some great friends, some long-term friendships. So motorcycling, if you like, brings out the adventurer in us, or it does with the people I've spoken to. People who are interested in just getting out there and enjoying what this country's got to offer, what the world's got to offer, going out and exploring. And the adventure can be a 10-mile trip to a local beauty spot or place of interest, or it can be a 1,000-mile coastal ride around Scotland or whatever. So yeah, adventure definitely is one of the reasons that we ride motorcycles. Number 2 on the list of reasons to ride a bike in popularity was something we've touched on in a couple of my previous videos, but I've entitled it Social Scene, the community, motorcycling community. It's meeting friends, riding with friends, making new friends, enjoying time with old friends, club events, bike social meetings. There's so much goes off these days on the social side of motorcycling, be it classic bike shows, custom bike shows, rallies, parties, that it's almost impossible to fit everything in. There's something happening every single weekend. Bike nights are a popular thing these days. Local pubs, cafes, etc. now cater specifically for motorcyclists and put on special events, special occasions, quite often incorporating the occasional bike show or single make event or whatever. So the social side of motorcycling, meeting up with fellow motorcyclists, enjoying the company of other motorcyclists, riding with friends, is a big draw for why people ride motorcycles, and it is one of the reasons I ride. Again, I've mentioned it in my previous videos that we head for these locations that cater for motorcyclists to enjoy the company of people who've got the same passion, the same interests as we have in anything two-wheel. So yes, the social side of motorcycling, the social scene, is massively important these days. Image. Let's face it, motorcycling is cool. That's one of the reasons it appeals to a lot of people. Either you've seen something on TV, or you've seen a film or posters or whatever that sparks that little bit of interest, desire. Hey, that looks cool, I want to do that, I want to be that guy. When you look at the image of motorcycling, the image of motorcyclists, we actually cover a broad spectrum of styles, both in the bikes that we ride and the clothing that we wear. You know, you've got your traditional resurgence in the calf racer look, currently the adventure rider style is very, very popular. You've got the all-American Sons of Anarchy look out there. People are attracted to different styles for different reasons, but the image of motorcycling and the image of motorcyclists is one of the things that, again, I'd not thought about consciously, but it came up in a lot of the conversations I had. Hey, motorcycling is cool, isn't it? You know, I still get a bit of a hair standing up on the back of my neck when you're riding down the street and you see a small boy holding on to his parent's hand, turn around and point and wave, and we all like to wave back. Makes us feel good, and it is, yeah, the image these days, it's not got the reputation it probably had when I first started riding. These days motorcycling is a lot more accepted into mainstream society. It's a thing that so many people do these days, so it doesn't have the negative image it used to have. These days it's got more of a positive image, but a broad spectrum of styles and fashions that go with it, both in the bikes and the clothing, as I say. So image is important, you know. We ride because we enjoy it. We also ride because we feel it looks good, we feel it looks cool. So yeah, the image. Freedom. A lot of people, this was high on their lists of reasons for riding motorcycles. The freedom, the sense of freedom that riding a motorcycle gives you. Whether this is because for a lot of us having a motorcycle was our first independence, if you like, our first form of personal transport, or whether it is that when you're riding a motorcycle you do feel more closer to your environment and not constrained within a tin box, the feeling that you get in a car maybe. Don't know, but it's the feeling riding a motorcycle. You do feel like you can jump on a bike and go anywhere you want. It's that romantic dream, that long endless highway, that chasing sunsets with the wind in your face and the sun at your back. It's yeah, that's what we aspire to, I suppose, and that's what we're looking for. And it gives you that sense of, comes back to that adventure feeling, of a sense of adventure. It's a sense of freedom as well. So yeah, I can go with that. Freedom is on my list. Health. Mentioned it in my a couple of my previous videos, the mental health benefits that motorcycling can bring, that's been recognised by a lot of people, and I'll mention it again. I mean, somebody referred to it as helmet time, that meditative state that you get while riding a motorcycle. It cannot be overestimated, the benefits that brings, and how it helps unwind, relax, etc. But what's not often spoken about are the physical health benefits. Motorcycling is quite a physical activity. Yeah, if you're riding competitively, it's very, very physical. Anybody that's done a track day or a little bit of dirt bike riding will tell you how much it takes out of your body, how much effort is required. But even just riding on the road, riding for any distance, people talk about that they're not ride fit sometimes after a winter layup, because riding a motorcycle you're more physically involved, unlike in a car where you just sit there like a sack of potatoes, somebody said, behind the steering wheel. On a motorcycle you have to physically input into the bike to manoeuvre it, to make it do what you want it to do, to make it go where you want it to go. Every time you brake, your body feels and has to compensate for the braking forces. Every time you accelerate, again, you're not going to fly off the back of the bike, but physically your body is adjusting all the time to the different G-forces that are being put through it. When you're cornering, it's your body that does the steering of the bike, your movement, not input through the handlebars so much as shifting your weight. So very physical activity, and the physical benefits and the mental health benefits, again, really cannot be underestimated. It's good for the mind and it's good for the body, and this was again on most people's lists for the health benefits. And you're out in the fresh air, and enjoying the world, not through an air-conditioned tin box, but out in the fresh air as well. So yeah, motorcycling is good for your health. Get out there and enjoy it. At one with the world. Now, this is one that a lot of people mentioned. They probably explained it in slightly different ways. Some people talked about being at one with nature. Some people talked about being at one with the environment, or closer to the environment. Motorcycling, yeah, you're wearing the gear, etc., but you are out in the fresh air, so you feel, again, I mentioned it in previous videos, you feel what's going off, you smell what's going off. You know, you can tell if it's dropping cooler. You can feel the warmth of the sun on the back of your leathers. You can smell the trees. When it's been raining, the damp grass at the side of the road, or if they've been cutting the hay. That sense of being at one with the world helps with the meditative effects, helps with the health benefits, being out, I've just mentioned being out in the fresh air, but yeah, it helps with the relaxation. You're at one with the world. Maybe it's not something you feel when you're sat in traffic or you're commuting into the city, but when you're out on a ride, as I am in this video, you really feel that you're at one with the world. So it gives you a better appreciation for the world in which you live. Being out, enjoying all kinds of weather throughout the seasons, you experience the changing of the seasons, and you have a better appreciation for the world that we're living in, a better understanding maybe, but no, really does put you at one with nature. So yeah. Commuting. This is one that a lot of people mentioned in their top 10 reasons to ride a motorcycle, but probably isn't in mine these days. It's been a while since I've been in a position or in a job where it was practical to commute on a motorcycle, but maybe 20 years ago when I was working in Doncaster, it was my favourite way of travelling to work. It was a lot easier to get into Doncaster on a motorcycle. It helped that I was working in the motorcycle trade, so it was acceptable to turn up for work. In fact, sometimes it was almost essential that I rode to work on a motorcycle, almost expected. So, but yeah, I do appreciate the benefits of a motorcycle when it comes to, especially travelling into the bigger towns and cities in this country, and I guess across the world. A motorcycle makes a lot more practical means of transport travelling into cities than a car does, and can cut your journey time by quite a lot. I think it nearly used to halve my journey time into Doncaster, travelling by motorcycle, simply because I could safely filter traffic once I got into town. You can get through towns a lot easier on a motorcycle, and it still is the case. As I say, a lot of people mentioned it. I didn't think that it was still a thing, or it hadn't occurred to me that it was still a thing until I started talking to people and looking at what other people had said were their reasons for riding, and people still do use motorcycles as an effective means of travelling to work. So you see, you know, the popularity in smaller bikes, and this is where a lot of the electric bikes are coming into their own, to be fair, where it's easier to get into town. You can park them up, you can charge them up, and then you can get home. So, and again, you don't have the type of bike that you ride doesn't really matter when it comes to commuting. Any bike makes complete sense as a commuter, compared to sitting in traffic as the only occupant of a car, watching the world and your life filter away. Life's too short to sit in cars, sat in traffic jams. So yeah, motorcycling makes a lot of sense when it comes to travelling into town, when it comes to getting to work, etc. So yeah, commuting is up there for a lot of people, and long may it continue to be so. And that conveniently leads us into what came out as the number 8 most popular reason for riding a motorcycle, going hand in hand with commuting, is parking. Again, not something that was high on my list. Most of my trips tend to be round trips, home and back, or to a destination where I'm meeting up with other bikers or events or whatever. But obviously, again, if you're commuting, one of the other advantages is parking a motorcycle is a lot easier than trying to park a car, especially in some of the bigger cities. And generally speaking, parking is free for motorcycles. There's very few places these days still where you have to pay to park a motorcycle. It's so much easier to tuck a motorcycle away around the back of the building, in the corner of the car park. Most council run car parks have a dedicated motorcycle parking area. A lot of towns and cities have dedicated two-wheel parking areas where motorcycles and cycles can share parking, and a lot of them offer the facility to chain your bike up as well. I know this is theft of motorcycles is a problem in cities, but a lot of these designated parking areas for motorcycles offer secure points to chain your bike up securely, hopefully to deter anybody that wants to try and walk away with it. So yeah, parking makes perfect sense. Get into town, get into the office, and don't have to fight for a parking space when you get there. So yeah, parking is another one of the advantages of riding a motorcycle. It's easy to find somewhere to park your bike. The thrill factor. Let's face it, motorcycling is fun. In fact, I put it up there with other adrenaline sports like hang gliding, downhill skiing, windsurfing, or surfing in general. This would have been very high up on my list. I'm surprised it came in only at number 9 on the survey that I did, although all the scoring was very close, to be fair. There wasn't a lot in it. But motorcycling is fun, and a lot of us, once we get into motorcycling, keep riding because of the adrenaline rush that it gives us. It's difficult if you've not ridden a motorcycle. It's very difficult to put across the sheer thrill of travelling, even at moderate speeds. I've done track days and things where I've travelled at not quite the speed that the guys that race professionally do, but far in excess of what you can do on the road, and thoroughly enjoyed it. The sensation that it gives to travel at 140, 150 mile an hour. But even on the roads, the roads that I'm travelling in this video, where we're doing 30, 40, 50 mile an hour, sweeping around the bends, it gives you a thrill. It gives you that exhilaration that you will only find in things like downhill skiing or hang gliding or something like that. You don't really get from a lot of other sports, but motorcycling, as I say, I put it up there with the so-called adrenaline sports, the adventure sports, as being the same sort of sensation, the same sort of thing. And that is, we ride for travel, we ride for adventure, we ride for the sheer adrenaline rush that the motorcycling gives us. So yeah, it's fun. It's the main reason that I ride these days is for the pure joy of being in the saddle, out on the road, on my own or with mates, and just enjoying the rush of adrenaline, the fun factor that a motorcycling gives you. Again, if you've done it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you haven't done it, go out and try it. Sweeping through these type of bends that you see here at 30, 40, 50 mile an hour, pure joy. It's just pure joy. So that it's high on my list. Maybe not as high on some people's, but the fun factor, the thrill factor of riding a motorcycle, do it just for the pure pleasure that it brings. Okay, and finally, in the top 10 list that I compiled, people mentioned they thought motorcycling was more environmentally friendly than other forms of transport. I'm guessing transport that's capable of covering longer distances quickly and efficiently, fossil fuel or transport requiring some form of an engine is what they're talking about. This might be a little bit more controversial than most of the other ones. I'm sure there'll be some people that may disagree, there'll be some people that do agree. I'm just putting together the top 10 from the people I spoke to and from doing a little bit of research on the internet as to what people thought were the top 10 reasons for riding motorcycles, and this came out at number 10. No facts, figures whatsoever to support the vote. It's purely based on what people thought, on people's opinions. So, and we've mentioned some of the reasons that people might think that motorcycling is more environmentally friendly than, I'm guessing they're comparing it with things like cars and other forms of public transport. It's quicker and more efficient, so you can get A to B quicker on a motorcycle than probably on any other form of transport. And motorcycles in the main tend to be more fuel efficient than other forms of transport. You know, I mean, modern motorcycles, 50, 60, 70 miles to the gallon is not out of the question. I've got a couple of motorcycles that will do 65 miles to the gallon quite easily, compared with a car, which, yeah, some manufacturers give some quite impressive mile per gallon figures in their data. But when a car is just sat in traffic with one occupant, it's not then that environmentally friendly. So yeah, I'm putting it in here because that's what people said. I'd be happy to hear people's comments on this one. It probably didn't come up in my top 10. I ride just for pleasure these days. I'm not riding for commuting, as I've mentioned earlier, so I just ride for pleasure. So it's not something that I think about that much, but I can see where people are coming from. So yeah, it uses less fuel, less rubber, less oil, takes up less road space, creates less pollution than a bigger internal combustion engine would do, especially when if idling in traffic, where a motorcycle won't be idling in traffic for long because it's making progress a lot easier than most of the forms of transport. So there you have it. Right then, there you have it, the top 10 reasons to ride a motorcycle. Please let me know what you think. If there's anything that you feel is a serious omission from the list, let me know. If there's anything on the list that you disagree with, or there are comments that you think would add to people's understanding of why we ride motorcycles, again, please share it with everybody. I'm not trying to create argument, but discussion is always good, and it's always interesting to hear other people's thoughts on what we're doing. So with that, I'll leave you to enjoy the final clips of the video as we ride into Monash down to the old smithy, one of our regular destinations. As you can probably see from the video, it wasn't the most tempting of days to go out on a motorcycle, although that having been said, the rain managed to hold off for most of the day despite the dark clouds, but there weren't a lot of people down at the old smithy. But it's always worth a visit if you're out in that area of Derbyshire, just round the corner from Bakewell. Pop in, and they're always happy to welcome bikers, walkers, cyclists, and the food is good and reasonably priced. So yeah, but enjoy. Thank you very much for watching. Right, there you have it. why we ride, why I ride. Hope you enjoyed that. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, please like, please subscribe and share it with your mates. But as always, till next time, as I've said, I am the Barnsley Biker and I'll see you.